Hello, welcome. I'm here today with Christopher Carvalho.
Thank you, Tomas.
Who is a music educator, a music producer, and just general musician, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been producing music for about 14 or 15 years now. Got started when I was about 14 or 15, just making music at home with various pieces of software and that sort of thing. And eventually I went on to study music tech at college and did sound design at university and that sort of thing. And so now I'm all about helping other music producers outline their goals and take action and all the necessary steps along the way to actually go in that direction, as opposed to just work towards an abstract dream or an abstract goal. Absolutely.
Yeah, you do get a lot of kind of budding music producers who are, how do I sound like Avicii? How do I make big bucks like Martin Garrix? When really it is a slow and steady progress.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot, my job really, and a lot of what I do, when I'm speaking to people and budding music producers and that sort of thing, is it's just managing expectations. It's none of this stuff is going to happen overnight. You got to want to do it for the real reason, which is for love of the process, for love of doing it, for love of the practice itself. Do it one day at a time. Just practice, lay out your goals, and hold yourself accountable for your progress. Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess it's similar to kind of any real skill. Like if I started painting, I wouldn't expect to paint like, I don't know, Van Gogh straight away. I'd just try and draw the lines, try and get the colours. I do think people just expect to be amazing or make mega money straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of like what we were talking about before as well, is that, we have all of this amazing technology available to us, but, what's going to help you get to where you want to be is the process. It's not the technology. There's not a channel strip or preset or anything. This is something I talk about quite a lot, but none of these single things are going to save you every single time.
Yeah.
And a lot of the theory behind how a lot of it works is actually quite simple. I made a video recently about compression, and the response was actually, it is relatively simple. I just use basic maths to get to where I want to be. Like my vocal, there was a loud bit in my vocal. It was a bit too much louder than the rest of it, and it was simple to just attenuate that to the rest of it. None of this is actually that complicated, as long as you know why these things exist and best practices around using them. Then that's how you're going to achieve your goals. It's not by downloading or buying all the latest and greatest. I mean, we were talking before, like just 10 years ago, the technology was completely different, but people were getting results. People have been getting results for as long as we've been around. And it's through experience, it's through practice, it's through process. Absolutely.
Well, if you look at the Foo Fighters example, they still record on tape and their stuff still sounds great. You don't need Ozone 7 or the latest Waves plugin to sound good. Just have a nice preamp, a nice microphone, and know about theory and songwriting. I think is more important than which is the latest DAW.
Exactly.
I've got Logic Pro 10, not Logic Pro 10.2.3. It's like, does it really matter?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're both part of like many of the same communities, like on Facebook and stuff, and we do our best to help people on the one-to-one basis. But the message is just always the same. It's just you're gonna get. It's like what I said before about output being relative to input. It's someone said to me recently, they were like, Chris, I've applied the same channel strip to 3 different songs, but I got varying results. And I was like, yeah, totally, because the answer's in the question. The stuff going in was different. And that's, when you know how these things work and when you actually appreciate them, you can get results no matter what DAW you use, no matter what compressor you use. It's all in the process, it's all in the experience. And that's kind of my job. Like my clients and the people that I help, I'm forever telling them, like, what are you doing daily to, hold yourself accountable for your progress? What are you learning? How are you dividing your time so that you are growing? It doesn't matter how quickly you grow. None of this stuff is going to happen overnight. Success is like the tip of an iceberg. You know, no one sees the stuff underneath it. No one sees the grind and all the failure and everything like that leads up to those successful moments that you see. It is the grind, and it is the process, and it is the learning. You know, like, people ask me all the time, how do you get a professional sound? It happens over time.
Yeah.
It happens through practice. How do I get a good mix? Well, you know, how are your levels? How often have you practiced mixing? You know, before you started throwing compressors and stuff like that, how much have you practiced it? You know, it all does come with practice.
I think it's just slowly getting those 0.1% of improvements and trying to track your progress as well. There's a fitness guy I follow on YouTube called Brandon Carter, and he says everything he eats, he writes down, and he works out exactly his macros and micros for food and nutrition.
Yeah.
I think we should be doing the same for music as well.
Absolutely.
It's like, well, as a kid growing up, it was like, what piano scales am I learning today? What techniques am I learning? You don't just pick up a Chopin and start playing. You have to learn the scales, learn the process, and then eventually you can learn the song, and then eventually you can learn harder songs. It's the same with music production. Learn some basic stuff, learn the songwriting, get GarageBand, mess around with that, and slowly build up and improve yourself. Rather than like, oh, I've got the latest FL Studios, latest Logic, I've got all the coolest plugins, that means I'm the best. It doesn't. Yeah.
None of it is going to be like, you know, press here and get results immediately. It's not about that. I mean, if you want that, some of that is available to you, and you know, if that's what you want, then there's not a lot I can do to help you. But you know, it is continual growth. Like, what I do is, you know, I help people ascertain what their North Star is. You know, what their goals are, what their dreams are, right? But then also bring it down to earth. Like, a lot of people I speak to, I'm like, what do you want? They're like, I want to make it as a producer, and then I probe a bit further. It's like, what does that mean to you? Because success means just totally different things to a lot of different people. For a lot of people, that's financial success, but even then, they can't put a number on it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, so what is your 20-year? You know, for me, for example, my 20-year goal is like open a brick and mortar music production academy. Doesn't mean I'll get there, right? But it's something to point towards. So having my North Star, I can work backwards into a series of attainable objectives that are each going to get me closer to that goal. And the fact that I know that I'm holding myself accountable for knocking those things out, that helps me build confidence and momentum, and helps me just keep going, you know, towards my North Star.
Have you read the Tony Robbins book, Awaken the Giant Within?
No.
It's about having a laser beam focus and focusing your RAS, which is your reticular activation system. So everything you aim to do all towards one thing. So if you say you're an Olympic athlete and you want to be the fastest runner in the world, everything you can do, everything you eat, everything you train, everything you watch is all going to go towards that end goal. So if you want to be the top music producer, like, you're not going to go out drinking every night because you can't get up early. Exactly. You're not going to do certain things because it won't go towards your end goal. And if you have that end goal in mind and you hone everything in on that end goal, it just makes it a lot more efficient.
Absolutely. And that's another thing. Like, the people I speak to, they'll be like, oh yeah, I need to achieve this, so that's the only thing I'm going to do for a month. When in reality, when you have one thing, there are many things that contribute to that one thing. You know, like, for example, you know, with the services that I provide and the people that I help, there are so many components to that. You know, my one thing is helping people with their music projects, but you know, there's my website, there's my social media, there's my videos, there's this and that. You know, there's so many pieces of the puzzle, but they all point towards my one thing. You know, so for me, that looks like penciling every hour of every day to different tasks. And typically I won't spend any more than 1 hour on a particular task, which is especially good for music. You know, because fatigue is so real. You know, you've got fatigue of the ear, but you've got fatigue of the mind.
Yeah.
You know, and after that 1 hour mark, your ears are tired. You know, especially if you've got it quite loud, your ears are tired, and you start to get a bit tired. So I just space things out like hourly, because then I'm always fresh. You know, I'm just switching tasks because they all contribute to my one thing. And these are the sort of, like, you know, things that I help people with. You know, I'm like, what actions are you taking daily? You know, for me, because, you know, I could totally relate to any at-home music producer who goes through creative anxieties, because I used to believe, we said this before, I used to believe that if I wasn't producing for 10, 12 hours at a time, I wasn't a music producer. And it's just rubbish. Like, it's absolute rubbish. Now it's like, I pencil in an hour every day for my music.
I think it's just having that focused, like, I don't know, the focused time. It's better to have 1 hour focus than 10 hours at half-assed, really.
Exactly. And if you've got, you know, in the world where we do have more than one thing to do, like, if you pencil it in, it helps you focus in those times, because you won't be worrying about when you're going to do the other thing. You know when you're going to do the other thing because it's on your to-do list, it's on your whiteboard, it's on your whatever. You know, and all of these basic life practices can really help music producers, because music producers, I mean, I can only speak from experience, but, you know, a lot of music producers and what have you, they don't realise that they can easily just adopt a more entrepreneurial mindset. You know, like, entrepreneurship is not an exclusive club. You know, it's just, you know, a mindset. An entrepreneur is someone who takes action daily to get to where they want to go. It's just continual growth. And if you're a music producer especially, or a musician, what have you, and that's what you want to do, and you don't want to do a day job, you're an entrepreneur. So adopt the mindset and just adopt continual growth. You know, when you're sitting down in front of your DAW, don't be thinking about, is this song going to be good enough? You've only laid down a chord progression and you're thinking, like, is this song good enough? Is it going to be, am I going to get signed to Spinning Records because of this song? Chill out, you know, just focus on the song, focus on the process, and just grow. You know, like children, they learn because they play. They don't have any expectations, that's why they grow, that's why they learn.
I think you need to think why you do it. If you're doing this, if you do music just to try and be famous like Avicii or Martin Garrix or whatever. Like, I'm not bad-mouthing them, they do have a good work ethic. It's not my cup of tea, but it's an English expression for favourite, I guess. But my point is, if you're just doing it to try and be famous or successful or rich, you're just going to get depressed, really, because that statistically isn't really going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you should do it for the love of the art, not for the end result. Like, if you look at professional athletes or footballers, they do it because they love playing the sport, they love the game. It's the same for music. You should love what you're doing and get really excited when you do it, and just get in that zone rather than think, how do I headline Glastonbury or Creamfields or whatever.
The fame, the glitz and the glamour. I mean, like, when I say, like, my North Star is to open my music academy, a part of me hopes it never happens, because it means I'll just keep going towards it. You know, it's the reason that I have this pointer, this North Star, is so that I keep going in that direction. If it never happens, it means I'll keep growing.
So how important do you think mentorship is for musicians and producers?
It's important for everyone, mentorship. You know, there's always someone ahead of you, and you should just celebrate that. You should just use that to leverage where you're going. I mean, if there's someone doing what you're doing and they're ahead of you, at least it means that there's a need for it and that there's a demand for it. I mean, you know, I decided, like, I think about a year ago, that I'm in need of mentors. So I reached out to people on Facebook and Twitter and what have you, and like people that I actually know in real life. And it just amazed me, you know, how much people actually want to help. You know, because at first I had all of these normal anxieties about doing it, because it's kind of like a leap of faith in a way, and you know, all of this stuff inside is like, oh, what are they going to think of me? But just do away with all of that, you know, and just do it for the right reasons. Do it for yourself. Like, reach out to people, like even people who you look at and think, no, they're not going to have time for me. You'll be so surprised if you just tweet at them or like add them on Facebook or what have you, and just start talking. It turns out these people, because they know the importance of giving value. So, you know, by you reaching out to them and asking them for mentorship, you know, that's kind of, for them, it's kind of a win-win as well, because it means they're providing value. And, you know, like when I help people, you know, musicians and what have you, I'm practicing I'm practicing my message. So it's as important for me as it is for them, for me to like mentor them. And likewise it is for my mentors to me. You know, I check in with my mentor quite often. You know, I've got like mentors for different things, like mentors in music and mentors in like entrepreneurship and stuff like that. And I just check in with them, and you know, I'll say to them, dude, this is happening, and I'm just trying to do this thing one day at a time, and I'm a bit flustered. And he's like, this is the reality. This is day in, day out. It's totally normal and it's totally fine. And they don't even have to say much, actually. Like, it's just a reassurance that what you're going through is totally normal. You know, because it's kind of like what we were saying before, like, you know, success is the tip of the iceberg. You know, you only see all the glitz and the glam of success and stuff like that, but it's the tip of the iceberg. There's all the stuff underneath. There's all disappointment. There's, you know, the grind. There's lack of sleep. You know, there's, you know, all the learning and all the failure. And that's another thing, failure, right? You know, the day I decided, or the day that I realised that, you know, failure is part of the process and it's just something you have to like go through, then you should just go for it. Like, stop worrying about failure. Like, make more decisions, thus make more mistakes, thus fail more, thus learn more, thus grow more.
I think failure is a great thing as long as you learn from it. If you fail, it means you're kind of pushing your comfort zone. If you never fail, it means you're always doing the same thing over and over again. Have you seen there's a TV show called Entourage?
Yeah, I've seen it before. Yeah.
Basically, it's got this big movie star, and then it shows you kind of the behind the scenes of all the politics and all the stuff that goes wrong.
Yeah, sure.
But from the outsider's point of view, obviously it's a fictional show, but from the outsider's point of view, all you see is this big movie star. You don't see all the stuff that goes wrong.
All the behind the scenes messiness.
Yeah.
You know, you only see, like, it's like we were talking about before, like, on my WordPress, for example. You know, that one widget you see on the sidebar, that might take me 10 hours. Lots of failure, lots of trial and error, you know, lots of lessons learned.
I do think the bar is very high in any kind of industry now, just because there's so many people on this planet. So you do have to be the top of your game if you want to be a professional at anything.
Yeah.
And having a mentor and having a trainer is definitely going to help. Even look at the top athletes, look at the Williams sisters, for example. They're trained by Tony Robbins, and they're trained by their own coach, like their own tennis coaches as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think a lot of people, especially in music, the ego takes over and thinks I'm too good. I don't need someone to help me. When you look at the top people in any kind of field, they're still getting trained constantly.
Exactly. I say to people all the time, actually, in terms of like ego, arrogance, and pride. Imagine like doing away with those. You know, doing away with those and just carrying on and just continually growing, because if you think about it, they're not really positive forces in your life. You know, pride, arrogance and ego. They don't really do anything for you. They're not the part of you that's like taking action.
Hold you back really, because you think I could try doing this thing, but if I do it and I get it wrong, people are going to laugh at me, they're going to judge me, and that will just really hold you back. So.
It's just a stopping mechanism all the time. It's just part of human nature. And you know, it's not to say that it will cease to exist forever just because I told you it would, but you know, it's always there. It's just how you manage yourself. It's how you manage those emotions, and just the self-awareness, knowing that they're there, but they're not you. They're not taking control of your life.
There's a really
significant
kind of classic self-help book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That sums it up really.
Love it. I mean, you know, one of the most important books in my collection, to be honest with you. You know, self-help is one of those terms that gets thrown around quite a lot, and it has connotations, doesn't
I think people think if you read self-help or into self-help books, they think you're kind of a loser and you can't progress. But really, the type of people that are really into self-development are the people that are at the top of the game and they want to slowly improve.
I think that the difference is, like, a lot of people see those things as a resort for when you need it, whereas, you know, there are actually a lot of people who are using those just to improve. And again, it comes to self-awareness. It's like where you are now.
Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, he reads like 4, 5, 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
And he's read all the self-development books, and he doesn't necessarily need them, but...
It's because he has the humility to know that he's always got more to learn.
Yeah.
You know, that's why... Berkshire Hathaway exists. That's why it just has a massive portfolio of all of these companies, because he's just continuing to grow and continue to learn.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely.
Yeah, so basically we've talked kind of a lot around the mindset of a musician and producer, rather than just having the magic pill of the magic plug-in. We were talking before, everyone on the forums, is always which is the best plugin, which is the best DAW, when really it's all about your mindset and learn about slow, steady progresses rather than just having the magic fix.
I mean, we've got it so good now. It's 2016.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's all come a very, very... I mean, I remember when I started using, like, things like SoundForge and early Fruity Loops and Reason back in the day. I remember thinking then, this is a miracle.
Yeah.
And that's why I got into it. I remember I can make music at home using a domestic appliance such as the home PC, which was rubbish.
Yeah, so it's great talking to you today.
Yeah, no, thank you very much,
Good fun,
Thomas.
Chris.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know a bit more, if you want to connect with me, guys,
Yeah.
and you know, talk to me about what I do, unlockyoursound.com is my domain, and you'll see, you know.
So just www.
Yeah,
unlockyoursound.com.
www.unlockyoursound.com. That's kind of just like where my personal brand is, and you'll find all my social medias on there as well. A lot of you guys who are probably watching this via Facebook forums and stuff like that, you're probably aware of who I am.
He posts like every 20 seconds. Always pops up in my newsfeed.
Roughly, yeah. Absolutely. And I'm probably going to increase that frequency.
Yeah.
You know.
You think there's about 10 of them, but it's actually just one. Wizard hands on the keyboard.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You know, something pops into my head. I'm like, that's got to go up. You know, definitely, because you know, because it's, you know, I'm living it. You know, I'm making my music. I'm helping other people with their music, and I'm just living in the context. I'm living in the lifestyle. So yeah, I mean, you know, I'm offering like, you know, just untold amounts of value through like video tutorials and stuff like that. You know, they just sort of come as they come, really, because like, you know, I'll respond to what people are asking. Like I did a video recently about compression and how it actually works and why you don't actually need to use all these presets, and how, you know, I think I said something like, something a bit cheesy, like knowledge is the ultimate preset, right?
Knowledge.
It's knowledge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to just check out what I do, go to unlockyoursound.com. Otherwise, just catch me on social media, via the comments or through tagging or what have you.
Or if you just comment below, I'm sure Chris
I'll
get
be
back to you
there.
within about 4 or 5 seconds.
Right there, underneath. Here, I'll be there.
Right, catch you next time.
Cheers, guys.